Hello and welcome to the Transformation Project, a podcast and community for women who are looking to transform into the best version of themselves no matter where they are at. A place where you can listen, learn, and laugh along with us as we dive deep into different topics to help you live a happier, healthier, and more fulfilled life. Remember, we are all learning here together, and therefore the content and opinions of the hosts and our guests should not be taken as medical advice. Please consult your healthcare professional for any medical questions.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Transformation Project. We are so happy to have you here with us and so happy to have an old friend of ours. It's just exciting to be able to see her face and chat with her again. Today we have with us Gretchen Dow. She is a mom. She's podcast host of the Happy, Healthy and Thriving Mama podcast. She's a wife and she's an owner of Wellness by Gretchen. She's so passionate about helping moms who are starting their health journey create habits, increase their energy and reduce cravings so that they can reach a healthy weight. She uses a 3-step process when guiding her clients to achieve their goals, incorporating mindset, food sensitivities and triggers, and then assisting them create some healthy, sustainable habits, which I don't know if you're a new mom or you're an old mom, but we could all do with more of that. So welcome on, Gretchen.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's always like a little weird to hear that intro. It's like, oh, I wrote it, but that's me.
Love it.
It sure is. So tonight we're chatting back and forth about what you wanted to talk about, and obviously your niche that you've kind of really honed in on, and I imagine this is really through going through it yourself, was healthy habits and self-care during that sort of motherhood journey. So I guess to get us into it, tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us about your motherhood journey and what that's looked like for you.
Yes. So I'm Gretchen, and my motherhood journey started about 4 years ago. And as any new mom, you hear the change that's going to happen in your life, but it's not until you're in it that you're like, oh, this is what we're talking about. And as beautiful as motherhood is, it is challenging. And when I became a mom, I just remember feeling this feeling of overwhelmed, lost, love and care. Like there was everything happening within me. And I remember sitting at the kitchen table, and I love saying the story because as soon as I start telling the story, I bring myself back to that time. And I'm eating my meal, delicious meal. My husband is taking care of my boy. He's nice and healthy. And I start crying. I am sobbing. And my husband looks at me and he's like, what is going on? Like, it's like, did I do something wrong? Are you okay? And I was just overwhelmed. I didn't know how I was going to be Gretchen again. Like I felt like my husband drove me to the hospital. A different person left the hospital. And I'm like, how the heck am I going to look after me? How am I going to look after my husband, my son, and still honor who I am? Because yes, I am Gretchen, the mom, but that's not only who I am. My children eventually are going to grow up, and then who is this person? And I was just like, cry, like, what happening here? And he was the one that said, you need to look after yourself. It might look different, and we have to navigate that together. But he was the one that was like, listen, just go back to taking care of you. And from there started creating healthy habits, and I started tracking them, and more so to keep myself accountable. And that's where Wellness by Gretchen was created, the Instagram account, just purely for accountability. And from there, it grew into a business, and this is where I'm at now. But habits and creating a routine and making sure that self-care gave me that lead way of you take care of you and you have more to give. If you don't take care of you, then you're giving from emptiness and being tired and being just grumpy and angry and all those feelings that we have because we haven't taken care of the main person, which is us.
So relatable. So
Jessica's
relatable.
nodding
Like,
and nodding and nodding.
yeah. We're like, yep, I feel that. I feel that. Yeah, I actually had this conversation the other day because I went into like hardcore mom mode when I had my daughter. And it was like, you're not feeding her right, or like, that's not what she's wearing. And I had to really take a step back because then same thing, like I got overwhelmed with like, I need help. I'm the only one doing this. I need help. But I had like pushed Ben out a bit, being like, I'll do it. Like, you're not doing it right. And yeah, totally relatable. I've definitely sat there and cried a couple times. And that's what it was. I felt exactly how you described it. I felt lost after having my daughter. Like, I'm a mom now. This is what I've wanted forever.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is amazing. But where's Jess?
And is that the interesting thing is that you're thinking of the old Jess or the old Gretchen before children, and you think this is how it's going to be now, but you have a new title or a new responsibility, so you grow into, how do I explain it? Like, it's a new you.
Yeah.
And this new you needs to be taken care differently. Like what previous to children, I want to get my nails done, off I go. I don't have to check anything. I want to go to the gym, off I go. I want to pop to the supermarket, off I go. And there's no thinking about a child or children if you have multiple. But when it comes to now that you're a mom, you have to think and really prioritize the time that you're going to look after yourself. And I plan, like, one of my healthy habits is I plan my week and I share that with my husband. And this is when I'm going to the gym. Is it possible? And we communicate it as a family. Okay, you can't go that day, or how about at this time? But it's a value in our family. And we actually I was late into my second pregnancy, and we sat down and we went through our values as a family. And one of them is we don't compromise when it comes to our health. And okay, so it's a value, but how are we going to support that? It's easy to say health is one of our values, but if you're not doing anything to support it, then it's just words said. Yeah. So we're quite clear that self-care and healthy living is a value of ours, and then we take action from there. And I feel like sometimes we know what we want, and if we don't communicate it with our partner, or we don't communicate it with our support system, we can get frustrated because, like, how come you don't know what I need?
What do you mean you're not a mind reader?
So I've learned to be clear on what I need. Like, for example, today I woke up feeling, I don't know, a bit emotional. I don't know, maybe the time of the month is coming, but I just felt heavy. And my husband could tell, and he's like, what's wrong? And I'm like, I have no idea. But he's like, do you need half hour to, go outside or something? And I was like, I went and I lay down. I didn't sleep or anything. I just lay down. But it's communicating those needs and allowing help. If you have it, take it. Don't reject it. We can't do this alone.
Yeah, I think that's something that gets put on so many mums too, is this presumption that you're going to know exactly what to do, and it's all going to be easy, and you're going to immediately have all these maternal instincts of things that are just naturally going to come. And so many people struggle with that, and I guess the removal of that independence, where now somebody is dependent on you, and then taking that so super seriously that you don't allow space for anything else. And I'm almost at the other end of that, where I've had one child who is an adult. And I can still remember when I stopped having to drive her everywhere to all her sports stuff. And I was like, what the heck do I do now with myself? Because she's making her own decisions, and some of those decisions I might not even agree with.
Yeah.
And I have no control because she's, and so then it's that journey through motherhood and who you are as a human being kind of will keep evolving.
That's right.
As you get older and your children get older. And it's so important for people not to lose track, because that's when we do see women kind of in their late 40s, 50s going, I don't even know what I like anymore. I'm like a shell of my former self, and then really struggling, and then heading into kind of menopause and perimenopause and really struggling with, their self-image and their self-belief and their confidence. So I think, for you guys in that big beginning stages of young kids, I think it's so important for all of us to advocate for women to have that time, take care of themselves, take time for their self-care. Like, you deserve it. It's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll add that, let's say you don't have a big support system. Like I'm in, same as Jess, like the majority of my family is in America. Reach out and create your village. And social media allows you to create friendships. I go to play group, I go to the library, and I create those friendships where if I need to quickly grab a coffee, 5 minutes of quiet and peace, I can leave my child with a friend of mine, someone that I trust. And being able to make sure that you are asking for that help. And it is okay to be like, hey, I need help. I can't do it all. There's no shame. There's no shame in that. And in that same token, your children are seeing like, oh, when you need help, you ask. This is what you do. You're modeling asking for help. You're modeling self-soothing. Like with Zane, I think he was around 2 when they start talking. Oh my goodness, he was just chatting away and driving me nuts. And a little honest here. And I started saying to him, sweetie, I love you, but I need 5 minutes of quiet time. I'm going to put the music on. When the music is done, you can talk to mommy. And that's how it started, where now he knows if I need quiet time, Zane, I just need quiet time. I'll talk to you when I'm ready. I am feeling X, Y, and Z. I am feeling frustrated. You're not making me frustrated. I am feeling frustrated. I need some quiet time. I'm going to go outside. I'll be back when I'm ready. We're modeling this to our children, and hopefully they'll pick up on it, and it'll help them along the way.
That's so good. That's, such a great example of boundaries, and boundaries are definitely a form of self-care. Absolutely. That's so good. So besides that, what other top tips do you have for parents?
I'm not sure if you do this one, Jess, but I started doing, I don't know if it was like I was going crazy because I'm like, how am I going to do this with 2 kids? The house is going to be a bomb. But I started doing 15-minute reset at the end of our evening. So after dinner, I started with setting up the timer, and I will not look at the phone, set the timer for 15 minutes, and I will go around the house and I will tidy up, with the random shoes away, the jacket, the socks that were left, the toys, just 15 minutes, wiping this, a vacuum, I will turn on the vacuum. I have an iRobot, go around the house. And for 15 minutes, I was focused on just tidying up the house. This started a year ago. Now is a habit as a family, and we do, Zane doesn't call it the reset or whatever it is. Ramen doesn't call it the reset. I know it's the afternoon reset, but as a family after dinner, we all come together and someone is doing something. Zane usually is putting his toys away. I am tidying up the kitchen. Ramen is getting the vacuum, or I'm getting the vacuum, and he's in the kitchen. When we have our older daughter at home, she's wiping the tables and counter. And as a family, we're getting the house ready for the next day. Now, am I saying that our house is spotless and this is, oh my goodness, it happens every night? No, but when it does happen, everyone gets to relax after. Yeah. And the house is not, I like waking up to somewhat of a okay looking house. Like So for us, and I suggest like just try it for 5 minutes, set that timer, and you'll be surprised what you can accomplish in 5 minutes when you're not distracted or doing something else. Have you tried anything like it, Jess?
So sort of. So for a while there, like I'm a morning person. So for a while there, I was getting up at like 5 a.m. and just like tidying up. But I found it put me in a bad mood because I was like, this is not how I want to start my morning. I want to get up and do my stretches and my meditation and my journal. Like, no, I'm wasting this time. And then I can't turn on the vacuum because it's 5 o'clock in the morning and I'll wake people up. So yeah, it was probably around Christmas time. And I'm not going to lie, it's definitely been thrown out the window a little bit because we've had my mom and Ben's mom staying with us. But yeah, after dinner, everyone would have their duties. So we have a Dyson and my son is obsessed with it. So Ben and Asher would Dyson, I would do the dishes, and Kinsey would clean up her toys. So we definitely need to get a bit better, like back into that routine, but we've done it a couple times and it's so good. So good.
And again, we're modeling your children taking care of their space. It's not mommy's job to do everything. You live in this house, you take care of your space. So it's just, yeah, it has changed how we wind down at the end of the night, because I'm not super tired and grumpy with my husband because I've done everything.
Yeah.
And I'm not, yeah, sometimes I get a bit grumpy, but like I'm showing the kids like, yes, mom will clean after you often, but not always. You know,
it's so interesting that you guys have caught on to that, because it took me a bit longer. And it was something that I didn't realize I was doing, was just, if I want to do it, I'm going to do it properly. I'm not going to ask anyone else to do it. I'll just do it. And it wasn't until, what was it now, like 2 years ago, when I broke my knee, when suddenly we were like, oh, you do that. Where'd that fairy go who like does all the stuff, right? And then everybody had to like start doing all the stuff because I couldn't even make myself a cup of tea. And that was when I realized how much I was doing just without thinking. Like somebody will leave something on the table and I'll just pick it up when I walk past. They're perfectly capable of doing it themselves, but I would just do it.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you, like, there would be so many women out there would be going, oh my God, I do too.
Yeah. And it's nature for us to do for our children, and because we love them and we do a lot for them. But we need to step back, and it's not just the doing part. We are showing them, this is how you take care of your space. This is, there's no mommy is the one doing all the cleaning and daddy does it too. Because I have 2 boys. I want to raise them to be capable grown men that are going to help, hopefully, their wives one day. It's life skills.
Yeah, absolutely. The other day, actually, so Ben is like not a fan of the kitchen. So and I am. So that in that sense, it works out. So the kitchen is my domain, but I do usually cook, and then I do usually do the dishes after. And I forget what Kinsley said. So my mom's visiting at the moment, and something my mom was like, oh, I'll do the dishes. And Kinsey was like, oh yes, because daddy doesn't do that. And my mom was like, well, he might be now. It was because somebody's noticed that. It's not like Ben's ever been like, I don't do the dishes. But she just knows. She knows mommy does the dishes, daddy's gonna do bath time and vacuum.
Yeah.
Like
they're amazing. They just pick up on it. Sometimes Zane will refer it as my job. That's your job, mommy.
That's your job.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, I love you. That's why I'm doing it.
When I was a little girl, I dreamt of becoming a dishwasher for small people.
Yeah. Well, we had speaking of the cleaning up after yourself, we had quinoa tonight. Now there's quinoa all over the carpet.
Oh.
And or we have a little rug on our dining room table, and there's quinoa everywhere. And I'm like, Dane, you need to tidy that up. And the perfectionist in my head is thinking, oh, the quinoa is going to be gone. Obviously not. But he took the dustpan and tried his best, and and he picked up maybe 3 of them. There's 100 of them left, but he tried. And that's what, I guess, like letting go of, if you're not going to do it how I want it to be done, then might as well I just do it. Let go of that and let your children try it. Let your husband help. Let your partner, whoever is your support system, let them help you and take it. Might not be how you were going to do it, but just take it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. It's hard to do, but
it is, but
it's very, very important.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's good to set the routine too, because I think there would be a lot of women out there who'd be like, yeah, that's great, but my husband wouldn't do it.
Give them something else to do.
And like, that's what we had to do. That, like, Ben's not going to do the dishes. He's also not going to cook dinner. If I had to rely on Ben for dinner, we'd be having pizza way more than I would like. And that's it. Like, it's like, okay, well, that's fine. I'll do this. You go shower the kids.
Yep, that's fine.
Yeah.
You know, it's a partnership. Yeah, if you're listening to this and you have a husband or a partner, it's a partnership, and you got into that partnership to make your lives better and easier, hopefully. And if you're taking more of that load, I don't know, maybe a word needs to be said. I'm sounding like such a mom. I go have a chat.
Conversation needs to be had, a quiet conversation.
Yeah. Can I mention that there was another habit that has made my life a lot easier, and is getting rid of stuff. I have decluttered my house from every single room. Every single room has been decluttered. If we don't use it, we haven't used it in a year, it's out. I either sold it or donated it.
How often do you do that? Like that little check?
I have a little system. So every season I'll do something. For before birthdays, we declutter toys, because I know more are going to come in before Christmas, toys and all that. When I'm doing the laundry, if I see that something's been worn out, doesn't fit, I take it out. The kids have a basket in their room that they know if it doesn't fit, it goes in that basket. So I don't know, 2-3 months later, I just take the basket and we donate it. That works for my eldest, and Zane is kind of getting used to it. And when else do I declutter? Oh, yeah. If I buy something new, I take something out. So I bought tea towels the other day. There were 3 of them, and I told Ramen 3 of them needs to get out, Ramen. So we're not constantly adding to the house. We have what we need. And I find that just like the afternoon reset, and just keeping the house in check is a lot easier, because we're taking care of less stuff, and what we do have is needed and it's meaningful. Yeah, so that's just the mental load, and the constantly cleaning has freed up more time for us.
I love this. This needs to go on my to-do list. I'm good with the kids. Like you, like I'm good. Like I take out the clothes. Same thing before Christmas and birthdays. Like, let's get rid of some toys. Usually we do it right after Christmas and birthdays. But I'm just looking at my closet as I sit here listening to you, and I'm like, oh God, I've had Asher almost 2 years ago. And like, I don't know if I'm ever going to fit into that. I don't know if I'd ever wear it again. I'm like, I probably should get rid of some of that stuff.
Yeah. So I love the one in, one out. I buy a dress, one goes out, socks, and it's just, you're ready in that set of like, you're going to go to the closet and put it away. So might as well just take one out. And yeah, it's just, he said there's more space to like just be.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think people underestimate that too. I have a thing where I cannot leave the house unless the beds are made. So the first thing when I get out of bed is I make the bed.
Okay.
With the exception of Sundays, which is laundry day, and then bedding gets washed. But I cannot leave the house if my bed is not made. It completely freaks my brain out. And I generally am more relaxed. I don't know if it's, you know, the ADHD thing or if it's like this for most people, but if my house is cluttered and messy and there's stuff everywhere, I feel more stressed.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I can't function. I just don't know where to start.
Yeah, it just becomes a lot, becomes an overload. And I think, especially for a lot of people like me, that overload builds up until it's completely unmanageable.
Yeah.
And we're like, okay, you're going to be on the next episode of Hoarders unless you get some help. Like, let's not get it to that point. But I do feel, and Brian was always, when we first met, he was like, why are you making the bed? We're just going to get back into it later. And I was like, can't do it. Can't leave unless the bed is made. It's just a head thing. And I think it was just part of how I was raised maybe. But there was actually I think there was a study about how people kind of reacted in their day or their level of achievement based on whether or not they made their bed in the morning. And there was actually something around that. I'm going to have to look into that.
Interesting. Where I can care less about making my bed. I just get out and off I go. But before I leave the house, I have to turn on the vacuum and leave it running. That's always
right, because you've got one of the things. I got one of them for my birthday. His name is Dobby, the house elf. And he does a little vacuuming around my house. And he is the bomb. I'm in love with that thing.
It is the best. I've said it to Ramen. If that thing ever breaks down, we're selling the house to buy another one. Like,
yeah. He vacuums and mops, Dobby.
Are they super expensive?
Brand new, yes, they are.
Mine's not. Mine wasn't like crazy. Mine, when I got for my birthday, like the family got together and they, like my brother, my sister, my eldest daughter, like they bought me Dobby. But like there's like super fancy ones. Dobby is like a little blind man. So he doesn't have like, some of them you can set like parameters of where they're supposed to go and whatever. Dobby just like goes until he bumps into something and then he turns and goes the other way and he doesn't remember where he's been. But I love him anyway, and he does the job.
He does the job.
That's so perfect.
Set him, and then I have a cup of tea, and he just whizzes around, and I watch where he goes. Yeah. So tell me, Gretchen, you were talking earlier about self-care. So what tips do you have about how people can prioritize self-care in our very busy lives?
Start by planning your week. I am a very much visual person, and I always suggest if I'm working with someone, plan out your week. Where are the gaps of time that you have that you can plug in 10, 15 minutes? Because we're so busy throughout the weeks that we just go away, we do. And we're not thinking about our self-care. But if we plan, okay, I'm going to work from this time to that time, this is when dinner is happening, just the major events that take a chunk of your time, and then see where can I plug in my self-care. For me, as a new mom, my self-care happens likely for Jess, happens first thing in the morning. And I don't mind that. It took me a long time to get to it, but I don't mind that. And I know that I start my day with my fitness and a little bit of like reading if I have the time. And that is my self-care. If that doesn't happen, I look at my calendar, I communicate it with my husband. And again, this is what I need. It's always about what I need, communicating those needs. But the moment you lay out your week, you plan your week, and you put out, what is it a priority for you? Because if it's not, then you're not gonna find the time to do it. And we do have 15 minutes, 10 minutes of self-care. And self-care doesn't have to be the fancy going to the spa and getting our nails, and it literally can be going outside and getting fresh air. That is, breathing in some fresh air, getting some sunshine. A simple, what fills your cup? What makes you happy? Is it a song? Is it 3 minutes of silence? What fills you up? And plug that in.
Yeah, it really can be so simple. Then there was a while there where I was getting really overwhelmed working and having a family. And I would I guess it kind of was guilt. I'd rush out of work and I'd go and pick the kids up and I'd go home and I'd have a stressful night making dinner and getting showered and everything. And Ben was like, they can stay at school for an extra hour. Like, go home, do whatever you need to do. Cause like, I'm not a night person. So like when the kids go to bed, I'm like, try to hold my eyes open.
Yeah.
Like, I can't get stuff done in the evening. And Ben was like, he was bugging me about it for weeks and weeks and weeks. He was like, go to the gym or go home and like get dinner prepped slowly, like listen to music, like, or take a nap. Like, honestly, like, just they don't need to be picked up yet. It's okay. Like, they don't know time. But I had this guilt of like, oh God, they've like been at school all day. Like, I need to go and get them. And honestly, like today I picked up Kinsley a little bit early because Asher was off sick. And she got there and she's like, oh, mommy, we just got into this end. I don't want to go home yet. I was like,
You think they love
damn
it?
it, child. Like, I got here early. That's what you wanted. And she's like, I'm not done playing yet. And I was like, okay, well, this is the last time I pick you up early.
And it's, and it's seeing that an hour or half hour that they spend in a childcare or school, well, probably childcare, they'll be fine. I've done it so many times when Zane was at childcare that I put him in for a casual day. And on that day, I got my hair done and I was able to fit in those like fancier self-care activities, but he was in there for another day and he was fine.
Yeah.
He's a lovely kid. Haven't damaged him.
For me, like it can sometimes be just literally like 10 minutes out on my patio, having a cup of tea and either reading like a physical book or just staring into space and listening to the birds. Like it's literally 10 minutes. And it just kind of like resets me for the night.
Yeah.
Because then there's a lot of people, everybody's talking, lots of stuff going on. We're figuring out homework and what's happening the next day. But just like that 10 or 15 minutes where I can just breathe and have nobody speaking to me and have my cup of tea. I was laughing when you said like, at 2 minutes of silence. When I was a new mom, what I would have given for 2 minutes of silence. I can remember locking myself in the bathroom. We still had like a toilet cubicle like in the bathroom, and I went into the bathroom and locked the door and into the cubicle and locked the door and just sat on the floor for like 5 minutes, just trying to like just gonna breathe. It's all okay. Yeah.
I actually didn't. Oh,
go
sorry,
ahead. No.
I was just going to say, I didn't realize, like, I don't think I ever got overwhelmed really as a young adult, but the amount of times I've been overwhelmed as a parent is crazy. And it's almost like overstimulated.
Yes. I was just going to say, yeah.
Like it's probably more overstimulation. And it's like, I sometimes lose my temper for no reason. And it's like the TV's too loud, the kettle's boiling. He's crying, she's talking, and Ben, you're trying to have a conversation with me, and like I'm gonna lose my mind.
Yeah. I tell that to Ramen quite often. I'm overstimulated at the moment. Same thing, the TV, the child, the baby crawling, pulling me, him trying to talk to me, and I'm like, I can't do it. And he is a new word for him, like, oh, what overstimulated, how am I going to help you? But I'm just like, I need silence.
Yeah.
And again, communicating, if you have a partner, communicating those needs, because how are they going to know? How are your children going to know what you need? And we're modeling that. This is what I need to feel better. Sundays has become my solo walk days, and the family wakes up. Before I would be like, oh, I have to do it before everyone wakes up. I'll wake up at 6 a.m. because then no one is bothered. Like I'm going and everyone's sleeping. I'm like, but why? My husband's capable of looking after the children. He's dad. I'll sleep in and I'll wake up, make a cup of coffee, and boy, that walk by myself, it is the best thing ever. Like half hour out, when I come back and like, all right, let's do this, and they're fine.
Would feel so good.
Yeah, we call it a little bit of shush in my house. Mom needs a little bit of shush. because dinner tables get like that for me, because we can sometimes have myself, my husband, my daughter, her girlfriend Charlotte, my mother-in-law, and our youngest child, and there's music on and everybody's talking all at the same time, and I'll be like, stop, I need a little bit of shush. And then everybody kind of looks at me, because I like you, Jess, I'll have to walk away from the table. I've had points where I'm like, I have got to just get out of here right now, because you guys are freaking my brain out. So now we have a little bit of shush time. Everybody knows it's better for them in the long run, just to go with that.
I like that Jess knows what she needs to look after herself. Yvette knows what she needs. I know what I need. And I guess the starting point for self-care is asking yourself, what is it that I need? What is it that I truly enjoy? That I can, in this time of my life, motherhood, I may not have a week off to go to, I don't know, Mexico somewhere, but what would fill my cup up right now that I know I truly enjoy, and being truthful and realistic at the same time, and plugging that into your week and prioritizing it, because we take care of things that are priority. We eat, because if we don't eat, then that doesn't go too well. So prioritizing it and communicating that.
Yeah, I hear from a lot of moms who are like, oh, I just don't eat breakfast, I just don't have time. And exactly what you're saying, like it's not a priority right now for you. But like, you need to make that a priority. Not that that's like a form of self-care, but like, I mean, it is.
It is, yeah.
Like, yeah, you need to figure out how to do that.
And
just
back
those
to
little
like,
things.
You don't have, what do you mean you don't have time to eat in the morning? What do you need to do in order for you to have that time? And do you need to prep your meals? Do you need to plan them? Do you need to come up with ideas that are simple, so that you can grab and go a breakfast? Because we do have the time. It's how we prioritize that time and how we
prioritize the time to make sure our children eat.
That's right.
Yeah.
We don't just, hey, you go to school without eating. It doesn't happen.
No.
Yeah. Hopefully it's not happening.
So you kind of took us, so kind of going back a little bit. So you started all this stuff after you had your first. Why did you make that decision that like healthy habits and self-care is going to have to be like a family value, a family priority? And then what did you notice between the two pregnancies after you kind of had some of those habits in place?
I wonder if it was the same experience for you. The first time around, I was like, oh my goodness, I don't know what I'm doing. The second time around, I was like, I know what I'm doing. So because I felt more comfortable with being a mom, and I kind of knew, not that we all know what we're doing, but I was like, oh, this is not fresh and new. It was easy for me to continue to implement the habits that I was already implementing after I had Zane. So, for example, going to the gym, that's my self-care. So that continued in a different way, but it still continued. And relying on habits is like, I don't have to think about it. It's just part of what I do and who I am. It's not a chore anymore. It's just, I wake up and I take care of my body. My kids are watching me take care of my body. So eventually I'm hoping they'll do the same. And relying on those healthy habits, I'm teaching that to them. And it's not, for me, it's the fact that it's not a chore. It's just what I do. I plan my meals every week. That's what I do. It takes me 3 minutes. That's what I do. We walk as a family. That's what we do. And yeah, it's just by taking care of me, I'm taking care of the family.
Yeah. And I think as people, as women, as we get older, because I'm headed now into, close to 50, closest down to 50. it's so important, because now is when you start thinking, oh, I wish I had. You know, if we'd had those habits in earlier, because we spend so much time taking from ourselves, sacrificing from ourselves for our children, for our families. But that does take its toll if you're not eating properly, giving your body the correct nutrition, drinking enough water, making sure you're sleeping, you know, making sure that you're taking time for your self-care and your mental health and all of that stuff. If you don't do that, it all takes a toll. And so, you know, I think putting those routines in place, because again, the routine is everything. Yeah. And anything can become a routine, and you just build on it. Like, you put one thing in place and then you build on top of that. It doesn't have to be changing 50 routines in one day. Like, one thing at a time, add something good, add an improvement, you know, every couple of weeks, add another improvement, whether it's a little bit more water or whatever it is. You know, you really want to be able to make sure you're not just there for your kids, you're there for your grandkids, and you're able to move with them, and you can still go for a walk with them, and you can still, when those kids are grown up and they're moving out of your house and they're living their own life and questioning everything you say and having their own ideas about everything, you're still healthy enough and strong enough to go out and do cool stuff. You know, now that you don't have all that responsibility of a child, like, you still want to be good and strong and healthy and be able to go and have some fun and do some stuff. So, you know, as a mom on the getting to the other end of that, seriously, ladies, this is important.
It's funny that you mentioned the grandmother thing, because funny enough, I don't know why I'm thinking about this, but I am so looking forward to hopefully one day be the grandma that does things with my grandkids. Like, I have, oh my goodness, I have that grandma at the moment. I grew up riding bikes and her chasing me and playing hide and seek, and I had that grandma. So I'm like, oh my goodness, if I take care of my body the way that she did, I can be that. I can give that. That's a gift that I can give to my kids and my grandkids.
Absolutely. Because that's what my mom's doing right now for me. She's here. She's been here for 8 weeks, and like, she can do everything.
Yeah.
Everything. Like, all the things you said, but even, like, you know, Asher's been a little bit sick. So it's like, she's taken the day with him, and it's like, she has the energy to keep up with a toddler. She can pick him up, and she can throw him, and she can play ball with him. And like, yeah, I'm with you. That's what I want. Yeah,
that's what I want. And that's why it starts now. Don't wait until the red light in your body, you know, the engine light that goes off in the car, and you keep ignoring it. Do not do that with your body. We only have one. Our health is one. If you don't take care of it now, then where is that going to lead? Imagine your life without your health.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to. So I rely on my habits day in and day out. They started with, like Yvette said, with just the fine little action steps that led me to what we're doing at the moment. And little things like, I set up my gym workout clothes, so it's ready to go for the morning. Because when that alarm goes off at 4:45 in the morning, I don't want to be thinking about what I'm going to wear. It's ready.
You just hurt my heart when you said 4:45.
It didn't start at 4:45. It probably started at 6, and then 5:45, and then 5:30.
And you still hurt Yvette, but I am so looking forward to that alarm going off and that quiet time that I get from 4:45 to 8 o'clock when I step it back into the house. That's me time.
Yeah,
100%. That's Gretchen time.
I love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Well, thank you so much for this. This has been so good. I definitely have some things that I need to go and implement in my household. Where can people get a hold of you?
Absolutely. So you can find me at Wellness by Gretchen on Instagram. So I'm very active there. And yeah, Wellness by Gretchen. You'll find me on Facebook, Instagram, online. Anyway, just look up Wellness by Gretchen.
She's around. And the podcast.
Oh, yes, and my podcast. Thank you, Yvette, for reminding me. So Healthy, Happy, and Thriving Mama podcast.
And that's on all the different platforms, right? So you're on...
It's on all the platforms.
All the platforms. Yes, wonderful. Thank you so much for coming on and being with us. It's been so great to chat. As always, for all of you out there that are listening, thank you so much for joining us again on another episode of The Transformation Project. Wherever you are in the world, whatever you're doing, we hope you're having an absolutely incredible day. And we will catch up with you next time on The Transformation Project. Thank you for listening in to this episode of The Transformation Project. The Transformation Project is not just a podcast. We're also a community. We're a collective of like-minded people all around the world seeking to live their best life and raise each other up. We're looking to support you, set goals, get healthier, connect with yourself and others at a deeper level, and better understand yourself and the world around you. We're always looking to link arms with like-minded people wanting to create more out of life. You can connect with us via our website, which is www.thetransformationproject.net.au. Email us at support@thetransformationproject.net.au, or simply listen in to one of our podcast episodes, which can be found on all podcast platforms, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify. You can even watch some of our episodes on our YouTube channel, simply called The Transformation Project. Please like and subscribe to make sure you hear all the incredible shows and guests we have lined up. If you have any feedback or any comment, we would love to hear those, as well as any ideas or guests that you think we should be interviewing in future. Thank you for joining us on this episode of The Transformation Project.